Ivan with DIY Detail. Today we've got something a little different for you. We got a new Jeep. If you remember the Fiat, we sold it. If you remember the Veloster, well, it got wrecked in an accident. So we replaced the Veloster with this Jeep to pull behind the bus. Now, Jeep is a great vehicle. A lot of people love them, and it's probably one of the most accessorized vehicles on the planet. You can get accessories that you wouldn't believe are available for this thing. Now, Sylvie and I have decided to accessorize it in a couple different ways. And some of them we got off Amazon, and some of them we got off Marketplace. Now, there are a lot of things you can get off Facebook Marketplace because people modify these things on a regular basis. So follow along. We're going to do some functional upgrades to the Jeep that are easy to do, you can do yourself, and have fun doing it. First of all, this is a Sahara model, and the Sahara model comes with these beautiful running boards. The problem with these running boards is to get into the Jeep, you don't really need to step up on them. And secondly, when you go to step in, they're sort of in the way. So we're actually going to be removing them and replacing them with a Marketplace find. The Rubicon version has these beautiful little guards there that take the place of that but don't stick out as far. So let's check how we take these off and put the Rubicon ones on instead. So here we are under the Jeep, and these are actually fairly easy to remove. Just a couple bolts actually. So there's 3 brackets. One in the back, one in the middle, and one in the front. And it takes a 13mm socket to get rid of those. And once all those bolts are removed, simply grab the step, pull it out of the pinch weld, and then down, and off it goes. By the way, it's just plastic. I'm not that strong. And we can sell this one on Marketplace for someone that has a base model and wants a step. While I'm down here, I'm going to use some waterless wash to clean off the pinch weld here because it's got a few things on it. So simply spray this on. Taking microfiber towel, going along, making sure it's clean. Dry it off, and now ready to install the other one. This one's metal, and let's just say it's a little heavier than the one that just stood on. Oh. So once we have all the bolts in and just loose, we're going to tighten the bolts up to go into the floor, and then we'll tighten the pinch weld bolts afterwards. And no, I don't have 3 hands. Sylvie's helping me, as always. But for discreet. No more knocking the shins on the way in. Let's go do the other side. Next up, we're going to be putting window shades on. The reason we like those, you leave the vehicle parked out in the sun, you leave the windows down just a little bit to let it air out. Very useful for that, and I like driving with the windows down. Just keeps the buffeting down because we have the Sky One Touch roof that allows us to open the roof up without taking the roof off. So let's open these up and see how they work. So these are the shatterproof window deflectors from Goodyear. No particular brand affiliation here, it's just the ones that I found that were available. If you've never installed these before, they can be a little challenging to install sometimes. Just getting them into where you need them to go, because they have to go in here, but they have to work their way in to the plastic behind the window. So first thing we need to do is put the windows down. Windows are down, and these sit inside this channel here. To make sure that there's nothing in the channel that's going to stop the glue from adhering, I'm going to take a microfiber towel and some panel prep. I'm not going to spray the panel prep in there. I'm going to spray it on the towel. Keep the towel nice and wet, and then work it into this channel and go all the way around where it's going to sit. And you can see what I took off. I'm going to do it one more time using the other side of the towel. We'll go in the other direction. And since it came out dirty again, we'll go one more time. And then take a dry portion of the towel. Dry it off. Now we're going to let that sit for a few minutes because we want the panel prep to evaporate. While it's evaporating, I'm going to do the back window. And the back channel was a lot cleaner than the front. We'll let that dry. Then we get to put these in. It's best to do it with the door closed. And then you have to work this in, making sure that you have it everywhere it needs to go and that you have the right one that fits. Now these are rather flexible, thankfully. And then they just fit up inside of here. But I had to take the tape off of it because I just made sure that I have the right ones and they fit properly. Test fit is done. We can take it out, and now that we know how to put it in, then we take these beautiful little stickers off of here. And they're always fun to get in and out. And if you have nails like mine, which are non-existent, even more fun. So the long one I'm not going to remove completely. I'm just going to start it so I can get a hold of it, if I can get it started. There we go. Just fold that down. The two in the corner I'll take off. The long one I'll do the same thing. I'll just fold it down. And as a detailer, if you're a professional detailer, installing things like this is something you can offer your customers. It's not a big money maker, but it's a great way of making your customers happy. So now I've got this glued section here, and I almost forgot. So the other long one here, I'm going to just fold down so I can get it when I need to. And now the reverse of the removal that I just did. So set it in, remove the long one there. Remove the long one here, make sure everything is up in its place. Then we put the window back up. And you have to leave the window up 72 hours. That's according to the instructions. That way, we're sure the glue sets. And now we have a little bit of extra ventilation when we need it. So we'll continue around the other windows. And then we'll show you our next little functional upgrade. Now the last part of this install, play with the bubble wrap a bit. It's always fun. Next up in our functional upgrades is door sills. The door sills inside the Jeep, they're painted and they really tend to get scratched up in here. So we have these nice little rubber pieces that are going to go into the door sill areas. So if the grandkids are stepping in and they're using that as a step, they're not going to scratch up our door sills. Again, we're going to use panel prep. Just find a clean side of this towel. Spraying the panel prep on the towel. Making sure to clean it up. And they're already quite scratched up, so this would have been a good improvement when it was new. You can see here, once the panel prep dries, how scratched up it is right here and down in there. Hopefully, this will stop that scratching. It's not a new Jeep, but we like to keep it looking as good as we can. We are detailers after all. So they have long ones and short ones, and left and right. And that's the correct one that goes there. So once again, peeling off this little tape, always fun. And you don't want to peel off the whole thing. You just want to get one end started, fold it out so you have access to it. And that way you can place it where you need to go. So I folded it out, I can place it where I need it. And now I have this as actually my first point of contact. I'm going to put this one down first because of the bolt that's up here. And from there, making sure I have access to these little pieces of tape. Pull that out. Making sure that it's well in place. Same with this one. It's a much nicer look there. And also, like I said, safety thing, if we have people actually using that as a step, especially the grandkids, they're a little shorter. They'll be a lot safer getting in and out, and it won't be scratching our door sills. 3 more to go. We'll see you with the next improvement. Next upgrade is back here. Wranglers have a tendency for these wires to go awry and actually pull off of the rear defroster, making it a little more difficult for you to see out the back of the Jeep. So again, panel prep on a towel. We're going to clean this area because we're going to be sticking something on here to make this a lot safer and making sure that these wires don't go anywhere. And what we have is a rear defogger cover. Let's open these up if we can. Nice set of instructions, cool little box. And I'm bilingual and I don't understand the language, but I can figure it out easily enough. So like the other parts that we did before, we'll just take a bit of this tape off, not all of it, because we want access to it. We want to be able to move this around. So by just having a little bit of it sticking out, we're able to pull it and adhere it afterwards. Now, of course, this end, unfortunately, just a small piece, so it's gonna have to stay the way it is. Making sure it's touching everywhere it needs to. There's actually a little piece here that this slides under. Okay, that's good. And that goes through there. And now I can pull this off. I can pull this one. And this wire is a little stiff. I'm not wanting to cooperate, but there we go. There, now that's going to keep that wire from being pulled out. On this side, you can see we have a much larger channel, and that's for the windshield washer fluid. So same thing, and this is one single piece going around, so it'll make my life a lot easier. So that goes over this. And make sure that this one is routed where it needs to go. Pull that out of there. And this one got folded back in. Okay. Pull that one out of there. There we go. Now those wires are secure. When we're cleaning the back window, we don't have to worry about hitting them and ripping them off. Next, we have some in the cockpit to do. We have a couple more little boxes. Let's bring them up front and check those out. Now up here, we've got a few things. When we're driving down the road, great cup holder, everything, but there's no place to put our phones. And I don't want a magnetic mount. We use CarPlay, so we don't need to have our phones visible. We can use the screen for that. There's a few things that are available on the market that will help us with that. One of them is this. This is a very popular one. There's many different brands that make this exact same part. So shop around. So this is very popular online. It has 3M tape on both sides, but most people don't use that 3M tape. They literally just sit it in here, and there it is. Now, when you're driving down the road, it doesn't get in the way of my legs. Our phones will fit in there beautifully. Like so. Same on both sides. So very easy to get to, very easy to use. The other one is this neat little thing here. And this one is not one you're going to be using every day, but super nice to have. Where it goes is up in here. And the reason I like this is simply when you're looking for your papers, you know, that day that you do get pulled over, you're going to need your papers. And this is a nice little place to have those papers. And this just fits in here. Now, to get it in there, they provide a tool. And instructions. So the first thing we need to do is actually take this little cover off. Now that this cover is off, this is the factory cover, we're going to be replacing it with this one. There's 4 screws that they so kindly provided the wrench for. Now I have the 4 screws off, and I can put the new piece in. Now the fun part is realigning the screws, because not only do they hold this, they actually hold the armrest to this whole assembly. Once you get one started, the other ones will follow. It's just getting that first one started. See, having a place to hold the phone is practical. There we go. Tighten the last two screws here. And now we have a place to put our important papers. That's one of those fancy little push to open things. So there, closes the way it should. Next, probably the easiest one to install, and that's this. This is very popular with JL owners. And this goes right in here. Again, going down the road, you can put things in there. And no, this isn't in the way of the airbag. This says airbag here, but the airbag actually comes out of here. If your airbag is ever deployed, this splits and the airbag comes out of there. So no need to worry, it's not going to interfere with the airbags in any way, shape, or form. The final one's a little more involved to install, but a really important one for comfort, and that is a dead pedal. The Jeep, unfortunately, does not have a rest. So you've got your foot on the accelerator on one side. On the other side, you're sort of in an abyss. And this is a nice little pedal assembly made out of metal. It's nice and heavy. And they're kind enough to make it adjustable for you. So depending on how you like to hold your foot at what angle, you can adjust the angle of this so that it mounts in different ways. This is the stock angle, so I'm going to go with that. And if we need to change it, we will. And again, this is the bracket that holds it. So this can be, you have different mounting points. You have the screws there. So let's get under the dash and start playing around. In our case, we'll mount it in the middle to start. Adjust if needed. So this bracket allows you to move it up and down and side to side. I'm going to be starting in a neutral mounting position, see how I like it, and if I need to move it, I will. Now, unfortunately, this company wasn't kind enough to give us any instructions whatsoever, so we're winging it here. We know where it's supposed to go, but how it goes, eh. It's a little difficult to see under here, but let's do our best. That nut up there needs to be removed, and that's where the dead pedal hangs from. So, very simple operation, one bolt. We'll see how it feels. If we like the way the dead pedal is positioned, great. If not, we can remove it easily and adjust it accordingly to what we need for our liking. Now, unfortunately, this is one of those, two pedal jobs. We're missing the third pedal, but it is what it is. These were Facebook Marketplace finds. They're original factory. They were in not bad condition, and they do the job. Now, one neat thing about these is you can see all the way to the ground. Let's throw a light underneath. So if you have water, you can actually drain out your interior. This plug is actually in the floor of the Jeep when you buy the Jeep, and when you get the factory mats, you take that plug out, and this actually clips in to the hole, and then this covers it up. So interesting way of doing it. And if you ever get water in your Jeep, you can easily drain it out. But first, let's go attack that bolt. Now, the pedal itself goes on there, and it matches the gas pedal pretty well. Now, I had it all the way this way. I actually want to move it this way a little more so it's not in the way of the brake pedal. So I'm going to loosen the bolts, slide it all the way over. It'll be closer to here. And this just rests on the floor mat. If you need to remove the floor mat, you can lift this up to take it off of the floor mat. So let me just move that over a little bit and we'll install it. There we go. And then put this back up in that bolt hole. And then tighten it down with the ratchet. Nice and even. Now we'll be more comfortable going down the road. It's actually better for your back to have that little footrest there. So now we have one. Again, something Jeep should have thought of. Finally, one last thing. I mentioned we use the screen a lot because we use it in Apple CarPlay mode. So I'm going to find a clean spot on my towel once again. Just a little bit of panel prep. And what we'll be doing is putting a screen protector on our infotainment screen. I'm starting with this, but I'm sure in the box they have all sorts of things to clean. But we're starting out with that. Now, the reason we want this is an anti-glare, and we have this open roof for a reason. We like driving with the open roof, and the glare can be sometimes a little harsh on that screen. So having an anti-glare screen protector, anti-glare, will make it safer for us driving down the road because we'll be able to see what we're doing. Beautiful little box. As always, a little piece of tape that just doesn't want to cooperate. There we go. And just like a screen protector on your phone, make sure it's the right one first. Yes, it fits. Then follow the instructions. Now, they have a little QR code, how to remove bubbles. I'm actually going to scan that and take a look at that because I don't always have success with those little screen protectors on the phone. They have squeegees and they have cleaning solution, dust removal sticker. So basically just like putting it on a phone screen. See everything we've got in here. So we have the dust removal sticker. We have the cleaning cloth. We have the lens cleaning wipe kit. Let me get my phone and see how they suggest removing bubbles. Now, everything in this has been QR codes. So if you're not a fan of QR codes, I'm afraid you're gonna have to learn. And speaking of QR codes, if you look on the bottle of any DIY product, we have a beautiful QR code that brings you to our SDS sheets. Very important. This one's bringing us to YouTube. So I'm just looking at the screen, making sure that everything is clean here. Let's, there we go. No beeping. So now I have the base screen for the Uconnect. There we go. Let's accept it. and we have everything there. Now we need to clean the screen. Now I cleaned it with our panel prep first, and if we look at this, it's coming out perfectly clean. Panel prep did its job, so I don't need to go over this with both of their little pads that they have. And just like when I clean windows, I'm not looking at it necessarily, I'm going for feel. And you can feel when you have a bit of dirt and dust on there. So you don't need to look at it. So there we go, that's done. Now we're gonna use the dust removal stickers. The important part of this job, just to make sure that you don't have any dust left over. Yes, it's freaking out because it thinks I'm touching everything that I shouldn't be touching. And you'll notice I'm getting in actually behind the screen here, a little further, just to make sure I don't have any of that pesky little dust on the edge. Okay, next, the screen protector itself. So this is the front. I can read. It says to remove the back first. And it has these two little handles to help me install it. I'm going to set it down in the bottom corner and roll it up. So, get rid of this. Starting in the middle, and I'm going to work my way out. Now, so far it's looking good because the screen is on. Let's turn the screen off. Look, Ma, no bubbles. Excellent. And I can take the front off. And then this one little squeegee that they give us is the one we should be using. Oh, and I do have a bubble. And it's gone. And let's see what it looks like. So it hasn't changed the look. Everything works. I can have the buttons on and off. So there we go. And we're ready to go. So that's it for our functional improvements. Now we have a few more. They might be in another video. If you like this video, if you like this type of video, leave a comment below, and we'll be upgrading the Jeep because that's what Jeep owners do, is little upgrades once in a while. So that's what we're going to be doing as well.